Showtime!
Welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show, everyone. Our guest tonight is living proof that persistence pays off and you really can make your own break. Please welcome to the Rosie and Bill Show, M&N Records' newest recording artist, Dana Macleod.
Dana, welcome to the show. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Listen, first of all, that song that we just heard part of is fantastic. And after listening to that, it's no surprise that you were just signed to a record label. So congratulations. And has it sunk in yet?
Thank you so much. It's been sinking in for the past week, I think. I think we're almost there.
Super
excited. Yes, completely unexpected. Completely.
Now, when we first met a few years ago, you were the musical director and band leader on a cruise line. And Bella was performing, and that's where we met you. And you were fantastic then. You're this amazing piano player and arranger and everything. And that was all I knew about you. I had no idea you were pursuing a solo career until your Facebook Live posts. How did this all come about for you to get your record deal?
I don't think I was pursuing a solo career when we met.
Okay.
What was that? A few years ago. So I just I was just working on my jazz album at the time, my first jazz album. And someone says to me, don't put out this jazz album with unless you're going to, put out at least one original song on it. And I thought, okay, well, I've never written a song. I don't know how to write songs, but I'll try. So anyways, it ended up that I just fell in love with writing music, and half of the album turned out to be originals. And then I also wasn't singing professionally at all. And I didn't want to put out an instrumental album. That's where this all started. I just didn't want to put out an instrumental album. So I was like, I'm going to have to learn how to sing. So
wait, you didn't just sing all your life. You just decided.
No.
Are you
No, I didn't. No, I definitely did not. I always wanted to, but my mom was a singer, and it was always like, well, she's a singer and I'm a piano player, which obviously did not have to be the way it was, but it was just the way I grew up. I was always the one playing piano. And
love the word Landslide, by the way. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh, thank you.
Your mother singing Landslide.
Changing 'cause I build my life around you. My time makes you bolder, and children get older, and I'm getting older too.
Thank you so much. So that was when I grew up as a child. That's just the way it was. So, but when I wanted to put out this jazz album, I was like, no, I love to sing. Well, I'm just going to have to work this out until it sounds good. And so that's what I did. And then after I put out the jazz album, I was like, I don't want to put out jazz albums anymore. I want to do pop music. So then that happened.
That's incredible.
Okay, Dana, I have to tell you, that really is even more impressive, learning what we've just learned in terms of you just starting some of the aspects of this, singing and whatnot, just as recently as you have. And I can't help but think that when putting together an album or shopping an album, looking for a record deal, there's going to be a lot of no's along the way. So my question is, how many no's did you get before that yes? And more importantly, what the heck took them so long?
And they asked me what took me so long, why I'm not shopping around to labels, why haven't I done this in the past few years? But it really didn't even occur to me. I was like, I'm just going to put this out myself and I'm going to release this myself. And, you know, and then I was looking on Reverb Nation, and there was all these opportunities to apply to record labels. And I started looking, because I live in Vancouver, I started looking at some labels in Vancouver. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to send it out there, thinking maybe in the future someone might contact me about a future project, not the actual album that I'm really trying to release right now. And they got back to me pretty quickly and said, can you take everything off the internet, just take it off the stores, and we'll release it through our label. And I was like, I don't know, I'm pretty overwhelmed. I've already released it to everywhere. It's already gone. And, you know, and I'd already submitted it to some things. And I was like, I was just not thinking too clearly about it, because I was just, you know, kind of overwhelmed by the whole thing. And so I talked to them maybe a week later, and I called them back a week later. I had one song that hadn't been released yet, that when I was writing the album, I was like, not too sure if I was into it. So I never released it. So I sent them that, and I said, here's an unreleased song. If you guys like it, let me know. Maybe in the future we can release it under, you know, maybe. And they wrote me back and they said, Dana, could you just take your music off the internet? Like, it's not that hard. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. And I just, honestly, it took me no time at all. It was so easy. And now now I signed with them, and we're going to release it as, you know, as they want.
I'm glad you had the wherewithal to rethink that decision. That would have been like a prime example of getting in your own way and sabotaging yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, totally overthinking. And the way that we're going to release it, I think, is going to be a bit different than it would have been pre-COVID times, you know, because the live performances are gone, everything's closed down. So everything's going to be a bit different. So we'll see what happens.
Well, now, Dana, this album is called Mirrors, right?
Yes.
So I've got a two-part question for you.
Okay.
Who or what inspired the songs on the album? And is it fair to ask, is Mirrors a reflection of you?
What inspired Mirrors? The lyrics of the song is basically when you are trying to escape your own reality, and you just can't, because you're completely surrounded by mirrors, and you're just getting reflected back everything that you can't escape it. So you just have to face it and deal with it. And that's where that came from. And yes, it definitely is from my own experiences in life.
That's Bill's attempt at humor there.
Another failed attempt at one of many.
What did I not get? Oh no.
No, it was a valid question, but he was definitely using the reflection in the mirrors. But well, that's a great song.
It's just I see. Okay, it's just me wanting to look at myself in the mirror all day. That kind of thing. I just sit there and like stare at myself.
Well, I can't wait to hear.
My sister would totally say that was me anyway. So she'd be like, "Oh my God, Dana just wrote this so she can look at herself in the mirror all day."
That's what siblings are for.
Totally. Oh yeah.
Dana, this is going to be a lot of fun. I mean, even in the midst of COVID and the adjustments that everyone will have to make, I mean, there'll be music videos at some point in time. There's going to be photo shoots. There's going to be, you know, the concerts will happen. And in the meantime, I'm sure there will be virtual concerts and appearances and whatnot. So, I mean, I'm really excited for you. Now, you mentioned that you had to do everything yourself pretty much. Like, we know that you wrote the songs, you sang the songs, but you also self-produced the album. What is involved with that, and how hard was it to put that all together and learn everything you needed to learn?
It was a challenge. That was a big decision. To be honest, I still to this day don't know why I did that. But I wanted to write I wanted all the music to be exactly kind of how I heard it. So as close as I could get to that. So I wanted I was being very, very particular. I wanted the bass sound to be exactly what the bass was, what I wanted, and the kick and the hi-hat and the bells and the layers, everything I wanted to exactly what I really wanted for the sound. And it was maybe it was more of a challenge. Like, I'm going to use this album as a challenge to see if I can do this. And also because I was away all the time, as you know, I'm like constantly traveling. So I didn't have a studio to even use. So I just, brought my interface and my laptop and my recording mic, and I just recorded the whole, I produced the whole thing while I was traveling. And when I got back home, I redid all the vocals and harmonies lines, and then that was it. And then sent it to an audio engineer for mixing and mastering. And he obviously had a lot of input on, some of the sounds that I'm using on bass, because he's way more familiar with like the sounds on the drums and whatever. So I had my general idea. And then if he wanted to change some of those sounds using a different plugin or whatever, then it was cool.
Did musical directing help you with knowing and being kind of more sharp with what you wanted in the sounds of all the instruments?
Yes, for sure. I think not just the sound of the instruments, but just what they're playing at all, the lines that the bass is playing and the grooves that the drum is playing and all those, that it definitely helped working with musicians for the last 10 years, of course. Yeah.
I was just curious, because you were just talking about working with musicians in the past. Did anyone else play on this album, or did you account for all of the instruments and all of the vocals?
No, it's just, all me. But the instruments are electronic. So, and the layers and the pads, all the pads and everything. Mm-hmm. So I basically did the album with my MIDI controller, my little Korg MIDI controller. And then I recorded all the vocals over top of it. And that was it.
Will they do any redos, say, of any of the songs, or they're just going to release it as is?
No, they're going to release it. Well, some of the frequencies might be tweaked for radio play, something like that. But it's no remixes, nothing like that. Just, yeah.
Well done.
I'm excited, right? Super excited. It's exactly how I heard these songs, and it's pretty, yeah. And I played some for my sister at first, and she was like, that sounds 80s. I was like, what? It's funny.
Well, that brings up another thing, but I just wanted to say what you just said a minute ago, maybe tweaking something for radio play, just the sound of that and the thought of that, I think, is pretty amazing. Whether they tweak anything or not, radio play is a beautiful thing. And, yes. Now you just said that your sister said it sounded like 80s. And even though I'm not really a huge fan of generally categorizing, but I think a lot of people always want to know what type of genre, what kind of sound. So if someone hears one of your songs, or let me rephrase that, when someone hears one of your songs on the radio, how might they describe it? What type of sound or genre might it be?
Well, first of all, I love the 80s. I love 80s music. So that's definitely not anything against that. But I would say contemporary pop or something like modern pop with electronic elements, something like that. It's hard to classify it because I kind of went all over the map with it. But I do use, like, for instance, I use some chords and harmonies that are not really used much in pop music, but I my background is jazz, so it kind of sneaks in there.
I like that, Dana, because you're really honoring your individuality and your voice with your art. And you might be creating a new style, who knows? Maybe it's time for this new, voice and music.
Right. Yeah, I hope so. I hope people like it.
I'm sure they will. Who are your influences?
Oh man, I have so many influences. As a piano player, I was so influenced by people like Diana Krall. Jazz piano. I think I listened to that album literally live in Paris every day for a year. It was crazy. Songwriters like Adele, vocalists like Florence and the Machine, now with like people like Alicia Cara and Dua Lipa and people just make you want to feel good, you put on their music and you kind of automatically feel life's a party. I love that.
Especially during the whole COVID thing. That sounds
Yes.
like a good outlook.
Now, Dana, I have a very important question to ask, and it isn't really about your album, but it is about your days as a musical director on the cruise ship.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that you worked with Trey Bella in the past.
I did.
Well, here's the question. Are they really the divas and as hard to work with as I've heard they could be?
Oh my God. They were the opposite of divas. They were the most like down to earth, gracious people, like sopranos I've ever met. I'm just kidding.
That's funny.
So amazing to work with you guys. I was all three of you.
We had so much fun on that cruise.
What is Bill? Are you a musician?
I try.
What do you play?
I would be a singer-songwriter who occasionally dabbles on the drums. We've got a few recordings out, but
oh yeah, awesome.
You know, so that's why I really appreciate what you've done and all the things you've done, because I think that, as I said in the opening, you really can, I think, in today's world, make your own break if you've got talent and you put in the work and you learn and you do the things you've done. And that's an area for me anyway that's a little bit weak on the production side. Mm-hmm. But the fact that you were able to put that all together, much respect, you know, from a fellow wannabe musician anyway.
You know what really makes it, I think, is being persistent. If I had not been insanely persistent with believing that I had a product that I liked and believed in my own product, it would have not, this wouldn't have happened, because I sent it to Spotify curators and playlisters, like blogs and other labels. And I was getting so many, I got, I don't know, maybe 35 declines in a day or something like that. Like for somebody that could get maybe turned off by that pretty easily, I can totally understand that. But you just have to realize that you're going to get so many declines, like you said, but then one person is going to really like it. And that's all you need, right? I actually went on and looked at some other people that we look at as famous now or whatever, and how much negative feedback they've got during their career. And it's like, yeah, it's just part of it.
Would that be the advice you would give to an aspiring artist?
Absolutely. My advice is there's space for everybody. And if you be persistent, if you believe in it, go for it.
I love that, Dana. That's really inspiring. And we are so happy that you took time out of your now very busy schedule to come on the show. And again, we just wish you all the best in this exciting adventure. Please keep us in the loop from time to time. We'll have you back on the show after they release your album, and then we can hear some of the songs from the album.
Oh, amazing. Yes. So excited. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me on.
We are more than happy to have had you on. And as Rosie just said, your story, it truly is inspiring. And we love nothing better than shining a light on those who are inspiring and motivating others to do things maybe that they might not otherwise do. So thank you for doing that. And you'll see there's a connection here in how we close out our episode each week. But before I say what I'm going to say, I want to add that we will actually close out the show with one of your songs. So what song are you going to play for us today?
When You're Ready.
When I'm ready. Oh, that's the song.
I'll play When You're Ready, When You're Ready. Yeah. Yeah. One of the songs off my contemporary EP.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, we are more than ready. So again, Dana, thank you so much for joining us today. As always, folks, make a difference for someone every day.
And make every day a great day. Ladies and gentlemen, Dana Macleod.
I won't fall apart, but I fell and I fell hard. I won't lose control like I've lost so many times before. This won't bring me down, 'cause it brought me to tears, but I'm stronger now. I learned to let go when how you really feel before it starts to show. give to you when you're ready. I'm holding on to the only thing I have to hold on to. So much love to give to you when you're ready. And if these walls start shaking down, I feel them closing in. I let them crumble to my feet and stand. Won't let them win, won't let them win. So much love to give when you're ready. So much love to give to you when you're